You're on Yarra Valley FM 99.1 listening to Have a Little Faith. I'm Greg Carrick and we have Kayleen West here in the studio. And I've known Kayleen for a number of years. We actually did an exhibition together in Monbulk, Kayleen with her paintings and me with a few photos. And Kayleen, you're well known around here as a painter. And I'd just like to know how long you've been developing that sort of gift.
Well, thanks for having me on, Greg. It's both exciting and nervous. My gift start, when you say gift, I'm not really sure. I call it a gift sometimes, but I think it was more of a passion that I had as a young child, and I think it was something that I started playing with that I got endorsement from, and I felt that I could perhaps do well if I practiced and tried at it. I started doing lots of craft things as well as drawing when I was a kid, and then I had a cousin stay over with us for a few months who drew a lot, and that sort of sparked me on, and I chose to do that as an elective when I was at tech school back then, and then I pursued it ever since. But it's been a passion that I've probably put a lot of work into and practiced heaps.
Yeah. And developing your own style, to me, that's a bit like developing your own style as a singer or an artist. How do you find where you fit and where you're comfortable and how you can express things in,
Style, that word. In the industry, people always say you've got to develop a style like a signature, so when you look at somebody's work, you can tell who it's from. That's something I've struggled with because I'm a bit of an experimenter, a bit of a gypsy when it comes to painting, because I like to play and experiment with different media and different subject matter and just explore. So my work's quite varied, but then I do have people say that when they look at my work that they can see that it's mine. So I can't see it myself, but other people say they can. So I haven't deliberately developed a style. I've just enjoyed what I do and let it just happen by itself.
Yeah, well, tonight we've got you in to talk about a book called Adoptive Father, and knowing your paintings in the years past, which were your expressions of how you felt and things you'd been through, and now coming on this book, which is aimed at children primarily, the style is vastly different, and it's very, very well done. Lots of great illustrations, use of colour, expressions and things like that. So is this a new thing for you?
It's relatively new. It's probably about 3 years ago I had a major shift with my work. I was mainly painting very traditionally, just landscapes, portraiture. I started, when I became a Christian, my work did start to shift, but I wasn't painting that much. It wasn't until I really felt God speak to me once. I felt a grieving inside me, and I questioned it, and through prayer I realised that God was telling me to paint, but I didn't see. Look, I was at the stage where I was so grateful for the transformation in me and my life that I couldn't see how my painting could serve him, and that's all I wanted to do. So I prayed about and asked God to show me how painting can serve him. And that's when all this changed for me. I started painting paintings about him, which was the exhibition I have with you, Greg. And then I remember, it's a bit of a story, but I was watching Joyce Meyer once, and she said, I remember this very strongly because she said that you've got to be bold enough to pray that powerful prayer. And my heart was that I knew that there were so many people who didn't have an intimate relationship with God, and I knew what it had done for me, and I knew how precious that was. I wanted that for everyone. It's just like when you hit the jackpot, you want it, you want everybody to have that same experience. So I sat on my veranda one night and I prayed. I said, Lord, I just, I want to touch people just like her. I want to reach the multitudes. I don't want to waste my life. I want to make it count. So, you're showing me to paint, but I can't see how I can use that. So please show me. And I think it was that week that the leader of the creative arts team at my church, which is now Discovery Church, he came up to me and asked me, would I paint on stage? Would I be comfortable painting up on stage? I actually felt very at peace with it. And because I'd done art demonstrations in the past, so I thought it might be very similar. But that was sort of the beginning of that.
Yeah.
And so I started doing sort of prophetic painting on stage. I'd pray and God would give me the image. And so through that process, he taught me how to receive the images, I guess, and take his lead with my work. And then I saw the fruit from it. I saw people would come up to me and say, in tears, and say it touched them and that. And like I felt I'd done nothing, just painted what I saw. But God did his thing, and that really touched them. And so I really wanted to do that. I really wanted to be used like that. And so then he directed me into the books, which came about through I was doing CRE at the time. That was the Christian education at the schools, which was, again, it was something that I didn't think I was equipped for, but I felt God really say to me it was urgent that I did it. I didn't understand at the time why. But when I was doing it, I tried to find material for the kids and I couldn't find it. Yeah. And I kept on thinking, oh, gee, I could illustrate that. And then through a lot of prayer, and we don't call them as coincidences, but God really makes it very obvious to you when he wants you to do something. Yep. It became very apparent that he wanted me to do a book. At that time too, he was trying to show me to go to India, which was something I was very resistant about. As
an artist, Kayleen, it doesn't surprise me that you illustrated it, but this is the first time I've known you can write. Where did that come from? Yes,
I didn't know I could either. In fact, it was something that, I was a C grade student at school, and it was something I've never had confidence in, but always, again, a passion. I've just loved to express myself on paper and write, and I've always wanted to write stories. And as a teenager, I wanted to actually be a children's book writer and illustrator, but I didn't pursue it. I did have a half try. I marched myself down to Penguin one day, and the nice lady there graciously told me that they didn't do that style anymore. I'd made myself a little book and taken it down there. But I did go into the field of art, but not into books. So God had to spin me back around on my heels and point me back in that direction.
So he knew you had it in you the whole time. So Adoptive Father, why does this book exist?
Well, that did come directly from a leading. I really feel it's an assignment that I was given. As I was saying before, God was trying to show me to go to India, and at the time, all I knew about is India. I mean, they mentioned it at my church.
Because they do some mission trips over there.
They have an outreach department, or it's connected to the church, called Christian Outreach Ministries. But at the time that God was speaking to me about it, I didn't know much about it. My perception of missions was you go over there and people get martyred. And so the idea just terrified me. But I had I was praying one night, and it was when I first became a Christian, my experience with God was pretty full on. It was pretty supernatural and very obvious. So I was praying one night, and I had a very clear vision. It was like a photo that was faced away from me, and it turned around and faced me, and I saw a very clear picture of about five dark-skinned children all smiling, looking at me. And immediately within myself, I knew what it was, but I was terrified. So, I put my hand out and went, no, you've got the wrong girl. So, but God was trying to tell me to go to India. And then I walked in my house one day, and I can't really remember what I was praying about I was just chatting to the Lord. And then all of a sudden, it was like he downloaded his heart for the Indian people on me. And I've never been there. I've never had anything to do with Indian people even. But all of a sudden, I felt like he was downloading, or probably a piece of his heart on me, and it broke me. I ended up on the floor crying, really feeling lots of just enormous empathy and love for them. And I'm crying, I'm saying, oh, Lord, please do something about it, And I just felt full of empathy and love. And then immediately I felt guilty. I started to feel like, gee, I've got so much and they've got so little. But God stopped me immediately. As soon as that feeling came over me, I heard the Lord say to me, I don't want you to feel guilty, but I do want you to do something about it. And I didn't know what it was at the time, but that's all I knew.